food, regulating process, trying to promote farmers market so that we don't end up in the mountain having hypermarkets where a lot of food goes to waste. I think there are very strategies and see that
With that specifically, Her Excellency Dr. Amna also mentioned the systems that somewhat are central to this platform transition, which is basically the MRV systems, which translates to monitoring, reporting, and verifying. And with that, I think it's somewhat of a three-phased approach, and looking at partners within that ecosystem specifically. To start off with, organizations have to start with the compliance and accreditation. And with that, we have a global partner leading in sustainability that is called ERM, Environmental Resource Management. And what they do exactly is that they do EHS consultancy, as well as audits for the accreditations themselves. And that's as phase one to equip the companies in order for us to move to the next phase, which is digital monitoring and data aggregation. And within this phase specifically also, it will be able to equip basically the assets within the facilities and the oil and gas infrastructure itself with sensors to be able to detect and somewhat correspond that data to a centralized location.
Okay.
To give you an example, we have a company called Fiber that basically has sensors that are placed in inactive wells to where it somewhat detects the leakage of methane. And because over time the wells tend to degrade and sometimes vulnerabilities arise.
Gas pockets.
No, it's within the well itself. Once it's shut, it degrades over time. And sometimes you have methane that leaks out of that. And then moving on to the data aggregation in order for the company to be able to somewhat put that into machine learning and get some inspiring insightful information. We move on to the third phase, which is data analytics and somewhat of management systems. And in that specifically, once all the information is aggregated, a part of us as well, one of the global companies is under the well-known General Electric. And the company or the specific subsidiary is called GE Vernova. And with that, they recently introduced an AI-powered carbon emissions management software that would be able to analyze, the information that is coming, so that we can transition into a more measurable, impactful energy transition phase.
So that the measuring and technology is one sector. Also, let's strive for engineering excellence. Also, we were also talking about the even. You did mention it now, and we were talking about it before. How can engineering and this planning help in delivering cleaner and more resilient systems across the board, across the region, and in all the industries?
Of course, when it comes to AI, it's something that we all have today is and we have applied it in engineering as well as regulation. We saw how powerful it is. I'll give an example for pipeline stability analysis. We usually have more than 10 engineers working on it for 2 weeks. And now with the adoption of AI, it can be done in half an hour. So this is how powerful it is. But apart from AI, I think about how we are enabling our engineering capabilities and how we are developing these capabilities for the future. And this is something that we embarked on in 2022 when we decided to focus on energy transition. So yes, traditional energy is very important to us, and we are trying to make it as cleaner as possible. However, we are enabling the company to be able to execute CO2 projects, hydrogen projects in the future. And we have done already some of these important projects. Some of them can be used by different industries. So just like cement industry, which is called 10.5. can enable industries to minimize their carbon footprint. But in addition to that, we entered into collaboration with a company called for electrolyzers. And they are doing now today electrolyzers of 5 megawatts each. So this sort of technology is very important to enable the projects that were announced around 100 megawatts to take place. And we are really preparing ourselves for the next step.
For the next year, how can such innovations, like the ones mentioned, and other innovations that you are also undertaking, rescale regionally to achieve emission cuts and
Thank you. And definitely innovation is a big part of as a whole the industry or for both steel and cement. We see that the role of AI really, or the impact of AI started to be seen way before we started seeing the large language models that now we are using in our industry. We started using machine learning 20 years ago, and the data gathering has only sped up for the last 5 years. The sensors, the cost of the sensors have dropped. New technologies have come in, things that before were very expensive in terms of cost. Simple things like solar panels now are very cheap and affordable. And one important thing is, as important as AI, the way I see it is blockchain. Because the chain of custodianship of the true emissions of any industry, of any product, needs to be transparent and visualized by the whole.
so far, or is it getting there?
That is getting there. We launched last month our blueprint project, which is basically trying to provide full transparency over our emissions, and eventually we need to a full chain of custodianship and full EPDs for all of our products, which are already in place.
So we don't have a lot of time remaining. So for my final question, I'm going to ask all three of you this question, but I want to do it in a different way. So I want you to imagine with me a white canvas that says UAE 2050, and from a perspective of policy, technology, or collaboration, if you were to paint something on this canvas, what would you paint? Let's start with something.
I mean, with that specifically, it's every component, within either policy, technology, or third one you mentioned is
Policy, technology, innovation, collaboration, partnership.
Yeah, and partnership as well. I think all of them would have to be painted within that canvas in equal measure, because they all have to somewhat speak in unison and be able to work in parallel as well. So each message.
So you would paint them the same size on the canvas.
Yes. To give all equal importance.
What would you paint? Would you add to it?
Well, I would say I would focus a lot on partnerships. So looking at companies working together to achieve our ultimate goal, because we cannot do it ourselves.
So if we look at what Mr. Ahmed printed, the three pillars, and then you are joining them together in partnerships, what would you add to the picture?
Well, I think one impressive side in the UAE is the sun rising. So I will put us on just as the guiding star that the UAE, I think, represents and will represent in the future in terms of sustainability, in terms of being an example of green transition.
And because I've been living in the UAE for over 40 years, I was asked to evaluating talent and the people of the UAE, because I have seen them rise from children at school to leaders around the world, and I think this is where we are going with sustainability. Thank you very much for joining me today.
مرحبا باش اهم شيء بيلعبوا لا يحمل شغال في رفع
Sorry, I have to check the same thing.
لا الرفل انا وفاطمه التويل
There are a lot of manufacturing companies who are in this area. But we just right now I'm partnered with You do sustainability.
I run a risk advisory firm to cover risks, operations, as well as sustainability and ESG. You get to define what sustainability means for them and their context. Ideas, your tools for them, help with communication and in risk advisory.
هنحط ونسيب. مرحبا. عربية؟ بس عايز البوابة. تتكلم عربي ولا انجلش؟ بدي اصور البوابة. You did a good job.
I only got for the event life. And they just live there.
You can just move it, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's fine, they can't hear us.
Oh, he wants to take the gate, but I don't know why. There's nobody important going through it now.
I think they want to show the
Activity.
the space.
It as an excuse to go get some food and come back,
Maybe.
so that he can carry the stuff.
Are you based in Abu Dhabi?
So yeah, I'm with the Swiss Embassy here.
Oh, okay.
Close by.
Oh.
And you?
I live in Dubai, but I work for Saudi Foundation, or the Crown Prince Foundation for Youth.
Okay.
And I came to see this, the live stream.
Yeah, the live
stream. I came to hear the event, and I have one meeting I have to catch up on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yes,
My friend
so
Manuela.
you're working together?
No, I work for industry, for the commodity industry. Food, yeah.
Based also in Dubai.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Contractor. The company is Canadian American, but yeah, we are exporting to the Middle East for proteins.
There's the world food coming up.
Yeah,
So you'll be
November.
there as well.
Correct. Yeah. And what are you working on?
I'm with the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, so we're part of the Foreign Ministry, and that's why we're based at the embassy here. So we do, we have regional mandates for the Gulf countries, and we do everything related to sustainable development, cooperation among the countries and countries.
Ah, okay. So you work mainly with MOFA? You work mainly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? in
Yeah,
the
but
Gulf?
also with the there's لو سمحت في حد حيجي حتجيب معاها صحن so we will be there. Thank you.
Can I use this corner here? Just I want this. It's okay.
Sorry?
Can I keep my cam here?
Yeah, of course.
I want the gate.
Your name is Wednesday?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. From?
Jordan.
Jordan. أنا لبنانية.
أهلا وسهلا. أشكرك جميل. إن شاء الله.
Okay, bye.
مشكلة جد متأخر فتح البوفيه.
Sorry?
جد متأخر ففتح البوفيه. بس ما فينا نرجع الناس إذا
على وين أكثر شيء أكتب؟
احنا اريبيان ايفنتس اسم القناة اريبيان ايفنتس.
أوكي.
عندي 8 قنوات تعتمد على مجال الاقتصاد.
والله. شرفنا.
انا كاتب في فوربس.
تمام.
كاتب في فوربس.
أنا هلا بعطيك البزنس كارد تبعي، أنا هذا الأفيرز بالأسوسيشن أوف كوربريت سيرتيفايد كومبانيز. للتبييع والمحاسبة. بس نحن عندنا كثير very big CAS agenda. كثير we support the sustainability مع ال international collaboration councils كمان كثير بندعي لل لا هي جمعية خاصة بس لأنه نحن بنشتغل 180 بلد بريطانيا عمرها 121 سنة. نحن من الأوائل الجمعيات اللي فوتت المرأة فوتنا المرأة إنها تكون عندها محاسبة رسمية فأنا مسؤولة عن كل نشاطات مع الحكومة ومع وأنا شغلة كنت مسؤولة كمان عن شركة الكاميرا بالمصنع.
اي شركة؟
جابان اللي وينستون كاميرا.
مصرية. انا اسمي رمزي.
شرفنا
عارفة اريبيان ايفنتس.
اريبيان ايفنتس. على وين بدي اروح؟
اريبيان ايفنتس.
على وين؟
على اليوتيوب.
على اليوتيوب.
مقيمة هون في الامارات ولا بالخارج؟
نعم.
مقيمة في الامارات؟
انا مقيمة صار لي 9 سنين في
هون.
دبي.
انا صار لي 48 سنة. 48 سنة.
واو.
انا اصل فلسطيني. اصل فلسطيني.
عرفت ابن اللكمة.
بس انا
من وين؟
احنا
مدرسة؟
لا احنا بين السبع بدو.
اه.
بس انا اختي معاها جواز لبنان، جواز لبنان منصوب من فايدة. صعب كثير الجواز اللبناني ياخذوه، بس اخذته حسنا الحمد لله. يمكن معك جنسية أجنبية أعتقد.
أنا؟ لا
والله جوازك لبناني. شرفت فيك، شرفت فيك.
وأنا كمان.
في شخص معكم صح؟ في حدا؟
ما بعرفه صراحة، إذا حط الهيدا وما عاد شفته.
لا أنا ما عنديش مشكلة معه، أنا خايف حد عنده كم. لا أظبط له أوراقه بس. مكان بجذب الناس.
It's not going to last that long in a bottle travelling this length of the world. And then you see a lot of in an electrolytes because so that's why we'll take our zero
الاستفادة دوت كمسؤولية مجتمعية. ولكن الاستراتيجية بتاعت الشركة نفسها أو المؤسسة نفسها لازم يبقى فيها استمرارية واستدامة. يعني أنا تجربتي الشخصية لما بدأنا مؤسسة قادة بالتنمية الاجتماعية، كانت الرؤية تنقسم إلى شقين. يا إما هتبقى مؤسسة زي أي مؤسسة تانية زي ما حضرتك تفضلت وتقول إنها تلبي الاحتياجات المباشرة علشان كده أنا عملت كده أو أنا كنت جزء من كده، أو إنها تتبنى استراتيجية التنمية المستدامة المتكاملة. التنمية المستدامة المتكاملة بتدي أثر أبطأ، فده ما بيسلطش الضوء على عملك بسرعة قوي زي الشق التاني. لكن الشقين مطلوبين وهو اختيار
في الأخير يعني كل اجتهاد إن شاء الله يصب في مصلحة العمل.
أكيد.
الله يعطيك العافية. نحن طبعا شاكرين على هذه يعني الإضافة الجميلة. أكيد يعني خبرات تستخدميها في هذا التنموية تركز تعطي اليوم يعني الملامح لمن يتحدث. أنا أقول لمن يرغب في أن إن شاء الله تبنى استراتيجية اجتماعية تنموية إن شاء الله أو أقرب من
أشكرك. شكرا جزيلا.
الله يعطيك العافية. ناخذ إذا في أي مداخلات. استهلا مهندس. ناخذ في اي مداخلات؟
based on that net zero strategy, they already had the Environment Committee approval for the net zero framework, which is, by the way, it will go for voting this week.
Are you positive about the results?
I hope, yeah, because the framework will make the transition more lucrative and to make the current conventional fuels are more harder. So what are the shipping industry's decarbonization initiatives? Basically in 4 areas, which is starting with efficiency, to be more efficient at what you are doing, and then electrification, which is basically electrification in your operations, the equipment you are using, even vessels. So we have 2 tugboats who are fully electrified, running electricity. And then we have alternative fuel, which we are talking about low emission fuel like LNG, methanol, ammonia, biofuel. And then we have the last, which is alternative, which is renewable energy, basically solar energy. In both of these, all of these areas, ADNEC Group is working to accelerate in all of the areas, and we have lots of examples in all of them.
So a lot of interesting initiatives, and I think the bottom line is looking for a variety of energy sources that are more sustainable and planet-friendly, let's say. Frank, moving on to you, you're representing Agility Global. Of course, is a multi-business owner, operator, and investor in supply chain infrastructure and technologies. So my question to you is something that may be on top of mind for everyone watching today. And I'm going to ask in your view, and this is about money, how expensive is it to implement sustainable initiatives in the supply chain industry?
That's a very, very good question, and the answer is it's as expensive as you want it to be.
Okay.
And we prefer in our businesses for our customers to try to conserve their costs. And we try to correlate what we do in our industries with our investments and the companies which we're operating with. So when we look at, for example, our Agility Logistics Parks, we built a suit. We try to make sure that our warehouse complexes are zero emissions ready. So you can install clean energy production on top of the roofs, you can do solar and things of that nature if the cost makes sense to the customer. So we make it so we're scalable and able to do things for the future as well as now. And we're also very, very pragmatic with some of the companies that we're operating and investing in, where we're leveraging in supply chain scheduling and optimization of the resources that we currently have. So we have companies in which we've invested, the shipping companies, the Frete in Brazil. These are companies where you're actually consolidating resources where for trucks. You have multiple consignments and multiple customers shipping their stuff on the trucks to maximize utilization.
Yes.
So you can go all in and buy, heavy-duty electric vehicles if you want to do that. That would be very, very costly, but it may not be appropriate for your business. We try to give our customers solutions that work for the here and now and will work for the future as well.
Ballpark, I'm going to pressure you on this one. A lot of the reason why people are not being sustainable, let's say, is everyone is saying that the broad headline is it's expensive. Do you agree with that broad headline?
Yes, it is. It can be expensive.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. We have to manage it like we manage every other aspect of our business. So we think of it from a CapEx and an OpEx perspective. I come from a project management background. We've got a very, very good management team in the companies in which we've invested that we operate. We try to run things very, very leanly. We look at things like optimizing our schedules. So 90% of the supply chain come from the widgets themselves, the production of the items that are in the supply chain. You can better manage your schedule, better manage your inventory, and reduce the amount of inventory you actually require so you don't lose inventory, you're not wasting inventory in the supply chain. That's a huge reduction in the environmental impact. This requires you to plan and talk with your logistics providers. We offer solutions and our companies offer solutions like that to people to achieve benefits without really plowing a lot of money into it.
Interesting. Peter, moving on to you. Obviously, technology is a big part of everything that we do, and that includes being climate friendly in the trading space. What role can advanced technologies and smarter resource management play in making global trade more efficient while also reducing its environmental impact?
Thank you. It's absolutely essential in order to be able to achieve our shared sustainability goals. Captain Saif already touched on it this morning. Our industry, maritime industry, which is what 80% of trade represents, is very, very difficult to decarbonize because of the high cost of assets and the life cycle of assets. These assets last in the maritime industry 30, 40 years. It's very, very difficult to adjust those to clean. There are technologies that need. There's also confusion about which is the right fuel for the future. Everyone's aligned around LNG being the right transition, but what is the fuel for the future? Is it methanol? Is it LNG? Nobody really knows. So, in order to be able to progress onto the goals that we've shared and agreed, we have to find smarter ways of doing things. In NMDC Group, we have implemented AI across our fleets, across our operations, to reduce carbon consumption, to improve efficiency. We've diversified and formed a subsidiary called LTS, that while it mainly serves the group, it allows our services to be offered to others, increasing utilisation, reducing the overall burden of the carbon footprint, and reducing it for everyone. In addition, we've experimented with fuel catalysts. Okay, so things that make the fuel burn cleaner, more efficiently, and give better production. Because we have to do these things in order to be able to achieve the goals in the short term, while the industry figures out how to get to the long-term solutions and the goals of 2050, that the framework that the IMO are producing is there to.
And obviously technology is fast-tracking that R&D phase, looking for better fuel system.
Absolutely, but it's more about doing what you're doing today more efficiently.
Yeah.
Finding ways to do more with less is the most sustainable way that we can do things in the short term, with the less cost, without the heavy capex that goes with it.
Captain Saif, moving on to you. As maritime commerce expands, safeguarding marine ecosystems becomes even more critical. How is AD Ports working to harmonize economic growth with marine habitat protection? And what role can innovation and partnerships do in achieving that balance?
I'm a strong believer that there is no conflict between growth and sustainability. I believe sustainability enables growth. That's very important. In AD Port Group, we have a number of great examples. I just came to know that Peter participated in building our flagship port, which is Khalifa Port. The design of Khalifa Port is to preserve the environment. Because it built next to a marine protected area, which is called the Granada Protected Area. And to protect that area, the design of Khalifa Port, which goes around 8 kilometers into the water, to protect that. And because of its design, Khalifa Port is the most efficient. It won the most efficient container ports by World Bank 2023. And any like for the last big project we have, which is the CMA terminal, we have done a great project of coral relocation. So that's very important to make that if we have to build something that has some impact on the environment, we have to make sure that it is protected. So this project was done with New York University, and we have done a relocation of these projects. Plus, we added some of other initiatives, which is basically one of the latest one called biohuts, which is like steel cages, and they are more of, we call them environmental solutions, where it has seashells in them, and they are like homes for smaller fish installed around 49 of them. Another environmental project which is within our infrastructure, what we call the eco-sea wall. The eco-sea wall, which is like a 4-level wall with different structure made from environmentally friendly materials, and it is basically to enable growth of marine life in different levels, at the fully submerged deep level, at the shallow level, at the tidal area, and also at the splash pad. And these are the projects that we are doing, and most of our projects basically have some environmental element in it, and we consider that as extreme importance.
Yeah, with partnerships obviously and using technology.
Of course, with new startups, new ideas, developers, we always do that.
And it's nice to hear that marine life and coral reefs are part of those initiatives. I think that's very important. Frank, agility obviously works across the supply chain industry, and this is an important question. Where do you think are the biggest emission hotspots, let's call them, that most people don't realize exist in trade, and what are some ways that industries and companies can reduce supply chain emissions?
So in the supply chain, about 90% of emissions, as I said, come from the production of goods. So hotspots would be how can you manage production of the goods you're actually selling and reduce those inputs. When it comes to transportation and distribution, which is that other 9 or 10%, some of the things you can do are engaging with your logistics service providers and making sure that you're working with companies. We're an investor in a company called ESG. They have a very, very good program to give customers green solutions. Our shipper companies give customers green solutions. And the other thing we do is we're invested in technologies that are related to supply chain. So like Loop Global does electric vehicle recharging. So even as we transition to, like right now, we're in first stage battery electric vehicles. We're assuming that in the future there's going to be better electric vehicles. Loop Global will still be able to serve those vehicles. We're invested in a company called Hyliion that uses a linear generator to produce electricity. That can use the fuels that are existing on the market now that will use fuels for future fuels if they have to burn ammonia or other fuels like that in the future. So we're trying to make an advance in the future. Generally speaking, if you want to reduce your supply chain emissions, you should be looking at your input costs and input efficiencies if you're producing stuff, and you should be partnering with organizations that are offering you quick, easy solutions to reduce supply chain emissions while things are in transit.
Very good advice, agreed. Peter, do you think sustainability can actually save money in the long run for heavy industries?
I think the answer is it absolutely has to. We've heard it through some of the presentations and speeches earlier. Sustainability isn't just about the protection of our environment. Sustainability has to be looked at holistically. And we heard Engineer Hassan, we heard Dr. Hammond, we heard Dr. Kecker talk about these need to be viewed as opportunities. And there are opportunities there, and they need to be focused. Yes, there is cost with implementing sustainability initiatives, but businesses need to ensure that that is invested in right, focused in the right areas in order to be able to produce long-term sustainability for the business. If the business is investing in ecological sustainability, but that's at the sacrifice of the business sustainability, that hurts everyone. And that reduces the available research and development capability, it reduces the investment capital, and therefore ultimately is a failing strategy. So it has to generate cost opportunity in order to be sustainable to produce the ecological sustainability.
Understood, makes sense. This is the final question for all the panelists, and I'm very interested in your answers, starting with you, Captain Safe. If you had to make one rule that every company working in global trade had to abide by for the planet, what rule would that be?
I think keep all the effort toward awareness, because the new generations, we have 8 billion people living in this world with us, and if everybody is aware about the importance of sustainability, I think we will be in a much better situation than right now, and things will be much brighter for the future.
Peter, one rule.
Open collaboration. It's impossible for a single entity to achieve the sustainability goals by itself. We need the regulators, we need the customers, we need the contractors, the service providers, all to collaborate to achieve that. Without open collaboration, it's impossible.
Frank?
Obviously, you would tell everyone you have to treat it. But in the
have to trade with agility, guys.
In the absence of that rule, I would say that we look to what our parents and our grandparents told us. In the U.S., they told us things like use it up, wear it out, make do or do without. Be efficient. There's nothing new about that. We're all efficient, control our impact, control our costs, and continue to have sustainable businesses that operate 50 and 100 years from now.
Frank, Peter, Captain Steve, thank you so much for these insights, and thank you all for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lena, for leading that incredible discussion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll turn our attention to one of the most crucial conversations of our time, the transformation of the global and energy landscape. For this discussion, we are joined by Khalid bin Hani, Managing Director for the Sub-Region UAE and Siemens Energy, Ibrahim Al-Zubi, Group Chief Sustainability and ESG Officer at ADNEC Group, Najida Hassan Al-Jabri, Chief ESG and Sustainability Officer at Emirates Global Aluminium, Dr. Yusuf Al-Hamani, Chief Asset Management Officer at Tigreed, and of course the moderator, Razan Salman, Senior Economy and Government Reporter at CNN Business Arabia. Please put your hands together and welcoming them to the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this panel that will explore how leaders are reimagining the future of energy consumption, distribution, and production, driving more effective decarbonized systems through innovation and collaboration. And it's my ultimate pleasure to be speaking to our esteemed panelists today. And I will start with panelists. At the forefront of pioneering innovations that are decarbonized, which have proven to have potential. Mike?
It's not just a side of our strategy. It's actually part of our DNA, and it is the center of our strategy. More than 1/3 of the world electricity already flows through our technology. And our mission is clear: to energize society without compromising on the planet. The UAE has become a global leader in the energy transition, guiding and setting the scene and objectives of the net zero target by 2050. And if you look also at the COP28 UAE consensus, which called to triple renewable capacity and doubling energy efficiency. by 2030. And those elements are very important to understand where the transformation is heading and what sort of technology is required to address those needs. In Siemens Energy, our goal is how we turn this vision into action through three things. We're now going to touch on the innovation part. AI-driven innovation, resilience, infrastructure, and strong partnerships. If you look at the artificial intelligence and digitalizations, and especially now these days where everyone is talking about AI and the impact, we see today AI is becoming the engine of the energy transformation, enabling productive maintenance, grid optimization, and emission reductions. Allow me to share one concrete example which we have recently announced with DIVA, the plant intelligent control which is installed in one of our power plants. This technology or solutions is going to save higher than 2.2% in terms of efficiency and saving on fuel and cutting 35,000 tons of CO2 emissions per power block. Imagine if we duplicated this across the power plant. You can time it by 10. Another thing, I was reading an article and somebody brought my attention from PCG in 2024 have said AI could help reduce 5 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 through industrial and energy optimization. And you can imagine the AI consumptions or demand of energy is going to increase significantly. And this will require huge amount of power and power infrastructure to meet that demand. So today we see AI and energy transformation working hand in hand. Also, two areas that I want to touch briefly is flexible, hybrid, and grid technologies. Today, what we are seeing and witnessing of the increase of the renewable, and especially the Union Saudi Arabia are taking lead by doubling the renewable capacities. This will require innovation, technology to integrate it into the grid. So again, we need to work hand in hand with governments, policy, and private sectors to achieve the ambitious goals that set by governments. The third element, which is the hydrogen, where everyone is talking about it, and this is a critical topic where it will help, and it is the cornerstone of the decarbonization. What we are doing at Siemens Energy, we are setting the path towards decarbonization by establishing one of its own electrolyzer factory. Today, our ambition is to go from 1 gigawatt production to 3 gigawatt, which is a world record, to be honest. And if you look at Masdar as an example, Masdar is planning to produce 1 million tons of green hydrogen annually by 2030. Again, if you look at the global market of the green hydrogen, it could reach potentially $500 billion, which again creating 2 million new jobs according to MARINA.
Thank you. So you highlighted collaboration, which is obviously a very important aspect of energy transition. Dr. Zabi, ADNEC emphasizes sustainability with a very big S, while balancing between economic returns, and energy supply. How do you think balance is done in this industry?
Shukran Razan, thank you. First of all, let me recognize the audience who stayed with us for this panel. Thank you so much for being here. Also thanks to Khulud and the Forbes team for creating this annual platform for us to discuss also. And I'm very humbled to be with this great panel. Razan, the world is going through a major shift, and this shift is shaped by three powerful forces. One, emerging markets are now responsible for half of the global prosperity. Second, energy systems as we know it are being fundamentally transformed. Third, the exponential rise of AI. So this puts, I think, puts our work in sustainability and overdrive, business as usual won't exist anymore. And at the same time, almost 1 billion people they lack access to energy and electricity. So for us, when we say sustainability with a big S, we mean that we provide energy and electricity and have in a human-centered strategy to ensure that we provide this to all the customers, all the people, the economic development. We call it a triple bottom line approach. We think of the planet, profit, and people. And I think we've heard a lot about emissions reduction. And I can assure you that not only ADNEC, the whole UAE is on track to achieve its climate goals. We have a leadership target by 2050. We decided to even do it earlier in ADNEC in 2045. We're on track. We even went one step extra, which is we looked at the other harmful gases like methane, having a near zero methane by 2030, which is 70 times worse than CO2 in a very shorter time period. So this is being taken care of because environment and climate action is embedded within our culture. But when we say sustainability with the US, it's reintroducing the narrative of sustainability. Sustainability is about people, about economy, and about taking care of the environment. So we're in the job of, we're a progressive international energy provider. So here on that job, we will make sure that our customers, they have access to energy, to low carbon energy, and while doing this, we ensure the economic prosperity for the country and for the region. I'll give you maybe an example where how can I link climate and energy providing. Now, we look at the oil and gas, and we know that there is a high demand and the rise demand of energy now. In ADNEC, we invested in technology and AI to ensure that our barrel of oil equivalent is one of the lowest globally, 7 kilograms per barrel of oil equivalent, while doing the same on the same price, not even charging a premium price for it. So that's forced by default. That's when I say it's embedded in the culture. But also to ensure that we future-proof the company and the country, we should invest in a diversified energy basket. We look at the oil and gas and renewables and nuclear, all of the above, because with the rise of AI, there is a high demand on energy. We talk about data centers, and I'm sure you know now, most of us use ChatGPT. You are aware that every time you ask a ChatGPT, it consumes energy maybe 10 times more than a Google search. Well, that means access to energy and electricity, and this is where we come. We ensure that while there is an economic prosperity, we do it with the most sustainable way, taking into consideration human-centric, economic-centric, and of course by default planet-centric.
You mentioned something very important, human-centered, which is obviously part of the vision, Najiba. Aluminium is a cornerstone material in new technologies. How is EGA making aluminium truly green?
With the distinguished panelists. I think aluminium really an essential metal. You can see the demand is really growing because this kind of property of this metal can help other industries to be recognized. You can see today the aluminium part of the turbine, we can see the aluminium part of the solar panels, and even regarding the construction, there's a lot of advice today to decrease the aluminium content in our building because of the property. And this is one of the reasons why we can see the aluminium demand will increase by 80% by 2050. And in PGA, we have a very stringent growth plan, but also we consider ourselves a sustainability leader. So we need to think how to decarbonize as we are going in the production. So one of our strategies, we are us being in this country at the central, connected to the grid, and as they will decarbonize, we are having access to the clean or green energy as well. And for that, I give you an example where we have been producing aluminium, low carbon aluminium, which is called Celestial, based on the solar. We also partner with a lot of recyclers, and our Celestial today, part with the Celestial R,
the distillate produced from the soda, but also have a lot of content, which is really low carbon. We have in discussion with our colleagues in the nuclear side. They are producing also clean energy, and we are connecting with them when we're producing MARINA based in nuclear power, which is also low carbon. We've been also in this era of the EGA, we've been lost more than 40 years. We are doing development for our community, and we are one of the few today are producing aluminium from technology which is made in Europe. And our technology is having 41% less carbon compared to our competitor from Japan or from China or across the globe. So our method in UAE are much less emissions. I like the interaction with the people hearing 41% less carbon. Also, in terms of our connection and looking at these continuous improvement in our technology, we have been launched this technology which is called EMAX. It has higher productivity, but also 12% less emissions compared to all what we have developed for these years. So we have a really strong roadmap toward the decarbonization when we are production, and by that we are committed to 25% by 2030
This is also, besides mentioning that EGA contributes big time to the UAE GDP, Yusuf. So, how can new innovations how are innovations in asset management and cooling actually contributing to the UAE's wider sustainability?
First of all, thank you for having me for the session. So SFP, we consider innovation, of course, cornerstone, and one of the key pillars of SFP basically is to deliver reliable, sustainable, and cost-effective cooling infrastructure. Having said that, it comes with huge responsibility. We are literally the market leader. And when you think about district cooling and you think that this is something maybe small, not important, but guess what? The UAE's vision of reaching the goal of 2050 carbon neutrality will not be achieved without having an efficient cooling scheme. 70% of the energy used during summer peak time is going for cooling. So imagine if you don't have a smart, efficient cooling scheme implemented in this country. And by the way, cooling, it is as important as power and water. It's an essential, it is not luxury. So we take this very seriously. We have partnered with the latest maybe leaders in the field of technology and implementing the best AI. Some of our plants are unmanned. Recently, we have partnered with Maxwell. We are using nanoparticles in our chillers that is used to transfer the heat and lubrication in the chiller that will eventually result in a better performance. And we are using this technology across our plants. The same when it comes to partnership, we are partnered with one of the energy leaders in the country, that is ADNEC, in our project Cheap Cool in Masdar City. We are very proud of this project. It is the first of its kind in the region. You are using geothermal, you are using hot water, and it is limitless source of energy that is transferred to cooling. 10% of Masdar City at the moment is cooled using Cheap Cool plant. And now we are trying also to implement the same in Al-Ain. Before I'm trying to spread out this. Being the market leader means that we have to lead by example. We have to innovate. We have to push the borders. And we try to also expand our businesses. Recently and yesterday, I believe, we have announced the biggest transaction in today's history, the acquisition of Forbes cooling, more than $1 billion paid to acquire these plants. And why is that? Because one, it is growth, definitely. Growth is needed in any business, but at the same time to reach into synergies among the plants. When you have two plants located in the same area, you can do synergies among the networks and having both connected together. And in maybe winter time, off-peak time, you can switch down one plant and do one plant, and this will be more efficient when it comes to energy consumption. And we are also very proud of our recent partnership with the Dubai Holding, Palm Jebel Ali as well. So the same, we are trying to grow, but at the same time using the best innovation and technology that we have across the UAE.
All you esteemed panelists mentioned the importance of leadership, collaboration, and innovation. But to end the session with a look-ahead question, how do you believe the UAE energy ecosystem can become more resilient to future shocks while achieving net zero emissions? Who would like to start?
The partnership is key, and I want to touch on three elements: partnership, ecosystem, and talent development. And today, if you look at technology alone itself, won't be able to deliver on net zero and emissions targets set by all the governments. It is the ecosystem we built, where governments, vision, industrial capabilities, and human capital work together hand in hand. So if you look at the partnership between private and public sector, this is very important. Without having a true partnership where commitments are set, nothing will progress. And UAE has set the example where we have built the most advanced energy collaboration models globally. And we as a company, Siemens Energy, are very much proud to support the entire energy value chain, where we are also supporting the decarbonization journey. Not only by saying, by deploying advanced technology locally here. In the past, everything was rather emotional, but that's not the case. If you're not close to the customers and the industry, you will not be able to progress, either to take one step forward. And if you look on that, the UAE has committed by numbers, not only by words or by PR, no, actually by numbers. If you look at the UAE has invested over $163 billion in clean energy production project to date, including Baraka, Mohammed Baraka, as well as Baraka, and so on. And if you look at ADNEC as an example, they have committed $150 billion to support the clean transformations. So again, what I want to say, Mr. here, all these commitments, through the partnership, you can see tangible results. On top of that, the second layer, which is very important, is the innovation, research and development, which is key and fundamental to sustain that growth. And to be also realistic with you, we as a company have established our fourth global innovation center here in Abu Dhabi, in the heart of Khalifa University. And why at the university? Because we believe innovation should work closely with university and academia. Innovation is about solving a problem that we're going to see in the future. So we must come together with academia, with the government, with policies, to look at things which we are not seeing today, but we will see in the future. And that's how the innovation should develop. And trust me, if we did not believe the market of the UAE, we will not establish our fourth global footprint in the country. We see that the UAE is becoming a leader in energy transformation, in innovation, in talent development, and most importantly, today our innovation is not catering for the UAE, actually for the globe. Today UAE is becoming a global player. If you look at most of the government entities, whether it's Masdar, Qada, XRG, and so on, they are global players. And that's where we want to be. We are working hand in hand, not to address only the challenges we see in the country, but also globally. And on top of that, what's really important is about how are we preparing future leaders. We are using this innovation center as a platform for training and development and preparing future generation to come. 50% of the technologies that were required to meet the decarbonization is not yet ready. But who's going to take it forward? So that's why we need to work hand in hand with all the governments, the universities, to support, to prepare the future, to address all those challenges. So the path to a sustainable future is clear. It sets with innovation, collaboration, and responsibilities. And we at Siemens Energy very much proud of our partnership. We will continue to support that journey and hopefully through our partnership and joint investment, we will be able to address the position as a leader in energy transformation.
Rosanna, I think, people talk about AI